All right, let's talk about that little piece of plastic in your wallet. You know, the one that's basically your key to freedom on the road. But what happens when that license is about to expire and you're thousands of miles from the nearest DMV? Well, for a whole lot of Americans serving and working abroad, this isn't just a hypothetical. It's a surprisingly complicated reality, and today we're going to untangle that whole mess.
So picture this. You're deployed overseas, or maybe you're working as a government contractor, and you just happen to glance at your wallet. And then you see it. Your driver's license expires next week. All of a sudden, that simple piece of plastic turns into a major problem. So what do? How do you stay legal on the road where you are right now? And, just as important, make sure you can drive the second you get back home.
Okay, so let's dive into the expiration date problem. You'd think there would be a simple one-size-fits-all answer, right? Well, there isn't. Not even close. Instead, what you're facing is a total bureaucratic maze, and the path through it is completely different for everyone, all depending on your home state. And this is really the heart of the issue. There is absolutely no single national rule for this. No federal law that says, here's how we handle it. Instead, every single one of the 50 states makes up its own rules. And what that creates is this tangled web of regulations that, honestly, can be a complete nightmare to figure out. So that brings us to what we're calling the 50-state patchwork. How in the world are you supposed to make sense of all this? Well, it turns out things aren't totally chaotic. Most states actually fall into one of three main categories. And figuring out which category your state is in, well, that's the key to solving this whole puzzle. All right, category number 1. We'll call these the automatic states. And if you're from one of these, you're in luck. In a state like, say, Texas, your license just stays valid. It's good for your entire tour of duty, plus you get a 91-day grace period when you finally get back. All you have to do is carry your military ID along with your expired license. Pretty simple, right? But then you have the proactive states. And here, things get a little more complicated. There is no automatic extension. Nope. The responsibility is 100% on you to get your license renewed before it expires. Arizona is a good example. You've got to renew by mail. And if you miss that deadline, yeah, you're pretty much out of luck. Yeah, in these proactive states, that clock is always ticking. That expiration date you see on your license, it isn't a suggestion. It's a hard deadline. You absolutely have to plan ahead and get that renewal paperwork sent in on time. Okay, and our third and final category, the paperwork states. You can kind of think of these as a hybrid of the first two. Your license is extended, but, and this is a big but, it's only considered valid if you have a special official document from the DMV to prove it. Take California. You need something called a DL-236 extension of license card. If you don't have that little card with you, your expired license is just, well, expired. So let's just put this into perspective. We'll look at 3 states side by side to see just how different these rules can be. Okay, you got Florida. It's an automatic extension for 90 days, but you need an extension card. Then there's Arizona. No extension at all. You have to renew by mail, period. And then California. You need that special DL-236 card, and it's only good for 30 days after you get back. I mean, look at that. 3 states, 3 totally different approaches. Now, you might be listening to this and thinking, okay, this is just a thing for soldiers. But the reality is this confusing mess of laws affects a way wider range of Americans who are living and working away from their home state. Yeah, this isn't just a military issue. We're talking about civilian employees of the U.S. government, government contractors, diplomats, even students who are studying out of state or overseas. Basically, if you hold a driver's license from one state, but you're living somewhere else for an extended period, this is something you really need to be paying attention to. So with all this complexity, all this paperwork, you have to wonder, right? Isn't there a better way to do this in the 21st century? Well, the answer might literally be in your pocket right now. We're talking about a potential future solution, putting your license right on your phone. This could solve so many of these logistical nightmares. Just think about it for a second. An official ID that can be updated securely, in real time, no matter where you are in the world. That's the whole promise behind something called a mobile driver's license, or MDL. And it's a technology that could totally change the game for how we manage our identity. So what is a mobile driver's license exactly? Now let's be super clear on this. It is not just a picture of your license on your phone. That's not what we're talking about. A true MDL is a secure digital credential that can be, and this is the key part, cryptographically authenticated. I know that sounds really technical, but it's just a fancy way of saying it has a digital seal of approval that proves it's the real deal and nobody's messed with it. Okay, so the difference between just having a picture of your license and a true MDL, it's like night and day. A picture is totally insecure, it's easy to fake,
And think about this. It forces you to show all your information, like your home address, to someone who just needs to know if you're old enough to buy a drink. But a real MDL is secure, it's verifiable, and it protects your privacy. You could choose to share only the fact you're over 21 without ever showing your actual birthday or where you live. That's a game changer.
Look, a universal MDL system sounds awesome, and it's a really promising future. But it's not here yet. So let's get back to today. What do you do right now if your license is about to expire and you're on the other side of the world? It's time to get practical.
The simple truth is, the future isn't here yet. So for today, you've got to play by the current rules and navigate the system we have. And the absolute key to doing that successfully is proactive planning. Seriously, taking a few simple steps now can save you from a world of hurt later. So what does that look like in the real world? Well, for a lot of people, renewing a license from overseas is a whole multi-step dance. You might have to visit a local testing station, apply for the renewal, pay the fee. You'll get a temporary 60-day license, and then you have to wait for the real one to be mailed to your APO address. And please, remember this. Any grace period a state gives you is for renewal, not for driving. You cannot drive on an expired license, period. So if you take away only one thing from all of this, let it be this. The number one solution is to know your state's rule before you leave. That's it. Doing that proactive research is the only way you can be sure you won't hit a major snag down the road. Okay, so here's a super simple pre-departure checklist to make sure you're covered. First, go to your home state's official DMV website. Search for terms like military, out-of-state, or license extension. Your goal is to figure out which of those 3 categories we talked about your state falls into. Then, print out any forms or extension cards you might need. And finally, do this right away. Set a calendar reminder for your expiration date.
You know, it's funny. We live in a world that's becoming more digital by the second, but when it comes to one of our most important pieces of ID, our driver's licenses, we're still stuck in this fragmented, analog, state-by-state system. So as technology like the mobile driver's license becomes more and more common, it really makes you wonder, how long can this 50-state patchwork system possibly keep up?